Welcome to Liberated. Today, my guest is Adelajda Child, and she is of rapid belief. And I actually took a training with her and learned about something called PSYCH-K. And I was so excited about what I learned and the difference that it made for me. I wanted her on the podcast. So welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Maggie. I'm super excited to be here and share my knowledge and talk about it. So thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
So I first heard about PSYCH-K through an author named Bruce Lipton. And Bruce Lipton wrote the book, Biology of Belief. And I was reading Bruce's book while I was in the jungle on a 12-day journey for ayahuasca, like ritual retreat plant medicine. And it was 12 days in Iquitos, Peru. And there's nothing to do during the day, but like sit there and you're in the jungle. So I was reading and I read the entire Bruce Lipton book. And here is this guy who is a teacher of doctors, and he understands biology at the collegiate level. And he says that something to the order of that our beliefs are stored in our muscles and in the energy in our body, and that there's a few ways to change beliefs, but one of the best ways that he's ever experienced was PSYCH-K. So that's how I found you. So tell me why PSYCH-K works.
So what Bruce is talking about, he talks about subconscious mind, and subconscious mind is the one that is operating our body. So not only our motoric functions, but also our heart rate, the way we walk, our immune system. So basically it is our body. And what it also does, it is our long-term memory. So we remember everything on a subconscious level from the moment we were conceived. So we've been basically programmed already in our mom's belly. And if you go even further into Mark's Wallen work, he wrote this book, I don't know if you heard about, It Did Not Start From You. And he shows experiment when they were treating mice with electricity, but also what they did before that, they give the mouse the lavender to smell. And what happened is when even they stopped treating this poor mouse with electricity, every time the mouse would get stressed when the mouse was smelling the lavender. What happened is they wanted to check if their babies are also stressed about lavender, and guess what? Yes, they were. And even up to the third generation. So the babies were still stressed about the lavender itself, although they didn't know what's happening. So
they did the experiment with mice. How does that relate to people?
Because it's all about genes, and we are very close to our genes. So often we say we are victims of our genes. And what Bruce shows in his book, that no, we are not victims of our genes, that we are actually in power. And more than anything that we are, victims of, it's our environment. So connecting the environment to the subconscious mind is the one that keeps us alive. And it reacts to fear, it reacts to danger. So when we feel in danger, our body starts to produce cortisol. And what happens is
Hold on one second. So the subconscious mind must come from or be connected to the brainstem in some way, because that's where the activity of the central nervous system and the autonomic nervous system comes in. So subconscious mind, not only the mind, which is the light bulb being turned on, like the light bulb is the brain, but when the light is on, that's mind.
Correct.
It's more than an organ. It is. It's more than an organ.
It is. Basically, it's our whole system It's our whole system that acts and reacts to anything that is happening in our lives and remembers everything. So when we are born, up till 7 years old, our brain is has these waves called theta waves. I bet you've heard about them, right? So it's also, they're connected to deep hypnosis. Why is it so important? Because we are super learning to first our 7 years, because we need to learn everything. We need to learn all this environment, the rules of our parents, school, how to walk, how to talk, and so on, so on. But we also program in ourselves beliefs. Correct?
Say that again.
Oh, so which part?
That's the end.
So we program everything that we need to learn. And also, besides learning everything, we also learn everything that we believe in. So
here I am, a little kid. I'm under 7 years old. Yeah. My brain is in theta, which is the hypnotic state. Everything happening. Something my mom says to my dad about milk or a cow or her mother or having a lot of kids. I take all that in, not just, oh, we like peas or we don't like carrots, but I also take in my siblings' behavior and my parents' behavior and then my hypnotic state.
Yep. Correct.
And that into my body.
Exactly. Even if you've heard your parents fighting about money, that they don't have money, not enough money, or they struggle for success. So you store all of that. If you are witnessing your parents fighting or your parents just splitting, you all store that in your body, like you said, in your body, in your muscles, as an energy, as feelings.
Okay, so hold 1 second. I was coaching a woman, we'll call her Mary, the last couple of weeks, and Mary was under a lot of stress. And Mary and I did this process that we use in the training model that I learned, and it's called balance, and where you look at things from different perspectives. And in one perspective, Mary was walking with an anvil on her heart.
Okay.
Like, that's how stressed out her job was. Good metaphor. Yeah. The next experience, she was standing there with her arms being pulled out by the sockets, one by employees and one by customers. Another one, she was hiding in a cave. And another one, I gave her the idea of, now give me the perspective of your daughter. And the water work started. And she said, the only way my daughter has ever seen to work is to struggle and be in pain and overwhelm. And then she started to sob. And then I said, because of your training, I said, where do you think your daughter's mother learned that? And then the waterworks came. Her mother was an Asian immigrant. She came to Silicon Valley and had to prove herself and had to prove as a woman and an immigrant that she was worthy. So she had to struggle and she had to put in all these hours, and her daughter saw it, and now her daughter is passing it on to her daughter. And because she's in coaching with, learning this stuff, she's like, oh my God. And then the most beautiful part, there's two more things, and then I'll go back to you, because this is what
keep on going
for me. So you can share this as a success story too. So then she was the perspective of the cat. And she goes, oh, I don't want to use the cat. He's not emotional about anything. And I said, and I was going to let her dismiss the cat. And I'm like, what's the cat's name? And then she has a cute cat's name I can't say, because then she'll know, yeah, you're sharing about me. Anyway, the cat looks at her all stressed out, looks at Mary all stressed out, and says, oh my gosh, Mary makes everything harder than it needs to be. Can't you just chill out? So after the cat, then she goes to a crystal vase, like something that you have on that shelf back there, but the crystal could see right through it. And I said, now what do you see? And she said that I've got to get my house in order. And I've got to develop some beliefs and habits
Mm-hmm.
around how to work with peace, freedom, and ease.
Yeah.
We didn't do, like, had I done the PSYCH-K with her and we knew that was a problem, we could have fixed it in 10 minutes. So how does it work? Like, why do I have to coach that girl for 2 years
Mm-hmm.
for us to see that this is a challenge for her and for her to have an insight? And I don't know that she changed the belief yet.
So to understand how PSYCH-K works, we need to understand a little bit how the mind, conscious mind works and subconscious mind work. And just not going into really like bits and pieces, I will tell you what neuroscience tells us already. And it's written that 95% of our lives we live from subconscious mind. 95% of our daily life. That's why nobody talks about it, right? So everything that we recorded when we were kids, we still live through those basically beliefs. Also, what they talk about is that subconscious mind is 1 million times more powerful than our conscious mind. They measured it. So it's like speed of internet. So imagine like our conscious mind can process data 40 bits per second. Okay. Now, subconscious mind, it's 4 million bits per second. Okay. So it's 1 million times more powerful. Now,
hey, you lost me. I'm lost. And if I'm lost, somebody might be lost.
Okay.
So go back and start just the part of the subconscious and conscious mind.
Okay. So conscious mind is only 5% of our daily life.
Yes, got that. Totally got that.
Yeah. So function of the conscious mind, let me talk about that maybe. It's our short-term memory. So if you have to go to the kitchen and do something, yeah, you're going to choose to go to that tea and then you forget about it. You're going to go to do something else. Now, subconscious mind stores everything as a long-term memory device. You can call it like a memory bank. Okay. Number 2, the subconscious mind is also because it deals with our body, and everything is happening there. It has to have really huge processing capabilities, because walking, talking, digestion.
Yes.
Yeah, digestion, immune system. It takes a lot of power. So think about the body, our body, subconscious mind as a computer. It takes a lot of processing capacity.
Yes. To run the machine. Yes.
Run the machine.
Yes.
Okay. Now, conscious mind is just 5%. It's a short-term memory. You have to do things, and it's like a short tasks. It's actually, I don't know if you remember, but it's also the mind that is responsible for your free will. So you can choose your dreams and desires and where you want to go. This is where we talk about free will. Okay. But also judges the results, and which is good, because then you're not going to make, hopefully, the same mistakes. Correct.
Yeah. So now I have a question. So
yes.
If we're in our subconscious mind 95% of the time, and only 5% of the time we're conscious, but our conscious mind is what creates and what sets goals and what goes for those goals. And then if you're a person who's, let's say, expanded your consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
because I actually, I do a lot of dreaming and I accomplish a lot of those dreams, and I live in a dream that I created.
Yeah.
So I sort of think I'm a little more than 95%, but I think that's arrogant, right?
Not necessarily, but here's the thing. That's why I'm trying to explain that part, so then you can see that actually, yes, you create those things, but if you have beliefs that you can do something, then it's a really easy road, super easy road. But that belief is in your subconscious mind that is 1 million times more powerful, correct?
Yes.
Think about it. There are some people who have this belief that they cannot do anything. Like whatever they touch, it's or not good enough, or it's something that it's not even worthy of showing.
Yeah, or they have a belief that they don't belong where they are, so they keep putting, like in the workplace, and I see this a lot of times with more females than males, and I coach both. Where they put things in the way.
Yes, obstacles.
Their ability to elevate. Like they create scenarios and situations where they put their foot in their mouth, or they don't manage their behavior, or they say no to a project they really should have said yes to, or they half-ass it at the wrong time.
Self-sabotaging.
Yes.
Yes.
And even in the relationship, like I'm in the dating world, and I've been in the dating world for a long time, but I recently went to a class, so hopefully I won't be in the dating world as long as I have been. And I went to your class and reprogrammed that belief about what it is to be able to find somebody at my level. Because I've done a lot of work on myself. I've accomplished a lot. I want to be with someone like that. Anyway, back to this. A lot of the guys and girls, but mostly guys that I talk to have a belief, this is really good, that they have to sleep with someone in order to have a connection with someone. And these guys are spinning through women.
Wow.
They just can't find the right one. They just can't find the right one. And they're not connecting the dots that when you create false intimacy, you really don't know the person. Now you've slept with them. You're like, oh, do I even want to hang? Do I even like this person?
Yeah.
And so it's a belief. It's a belief, a programmed belief. Now, I would imagine they didn't get that belief at 7 because they didn't know about sex and they didn't know about connection at 7. But could they have gotten that belief at 16?
They could have. Yeah. Definitely. Only by observation. If something has very emotional charge, they quickly can acquire that belief. Okay, it could be first love, because when we're 16, we're going through our first love.
Yeah.
And maybe something happened there, and then they programmed that belief, and since that time they're running that belief. Okay, and it's like an autopilot. I call it like an autopilot. They don't even know they're doing it. They just can see that 5% in their life what they're doing. Okay.
So, but did they have a different belief before they were 16? Something about connecting with people that this kind of attached itself to? Because if most of our subconscious programming happens before 7, then we might have had something as a little kid, like my mommy didn't pick me up when I wanted to, or another child was born, or something else that I believed that I got the raw end of the stick with. Exactly.
And I would ask how your father about his father or mother, because we're copying it. So it's like really, and kids are learning through 5 senses, so they don't have to hear it, but they can just watch it. They can just observe it, to just download it.
So if a man was raised without a father, he might not have seen the model of father, mother. He might have seen mother alone and doesn't understand. Could that be like a lack of understanding?
Yes, exactly. And then he made up the story in his mind, because we are all kids and we want to survive our childhood, right? So we need to make up stories in our minds just to explain to ourselves some situations. And can they make up story like that and then run it as a program? Yes, they can. And I see it all the time.
Wow. Yeah. What are some other common programs that people have running their subconscious?
Not feeling worthy of love. And this is exactly example what I see when but they are kids and parents are working really, really hard. So once they're home, they're just tired, right? And the kids wants to spend time, connect, and they would hear, well, I'm too tired, not now, tomorrow or some other day. And then the kids making this assumption, oh, I am not worthy of their time. I'm not lovable. I'm not worthy of love. And they just basically program it, and then they will go through life with this feeling, because this emotion, with this thought brings this feeling, this emotion. And by the way, what subconscious also really loves is familiarity. Likes to be familiar with things. Okay. So with me, when I was growing up, I'm originally from Poland, and it was really common to spank kids. And we would do something bad, and all right, you're gonna get spanked. Now, how many times are gonna get spanked? And like, oh, I don't know. Like, no, if you just say it, like, hey, 2 times. But and my dad would say something like that. I really love you, and I don't want to hurt you, but you deserve to be hurt.
Oh my God.
So here's the way it gets better. So first of all, I did 2 things. To be in control, I suppressed me crying, because this was the only thing. Like, okay, I'm going to show you I'm not going to cry. So then I went through my life, I think until I was 25, 26, not crying. I didn't know like why people are crying. Like, well, they're emotional. It's like, I don't get that. But then I realized that I suppressed that in the past just to have that control over it. Number 2, and that was a huge thing in my life, that my first boyfriend, after a year of knowing him, after first big fight, he did hit me. I broke up with him after a huge shock. Then I was a little bit lulled. Then I found a second boyfriend. We got together, and exactly the same story. So I called, oh, this has to be coincidence. Third boyfriend. Okay, this is not a coincidence anymore. So I started to search what was happening. And when I started to learn about subconscious mind, it makes this weird, making no logic associations. Cause love for me equals being hurt and pain. Ugh. This is exactly what my dad told me. You know what I mean? Because so like, okay, I had different opinion. I did something wrong, so I deserved it. And it was exactly happening with my ex-boyfriends. And I had 3 relationships like that until I was like, oh, it's not them. Because the first one is them. It's a coincidence. And it's like, no, it's me. I am attracting people like this. And so I had to reprogram in myself that love is caring and nourishing and support. So I had to really show my subconscious mind that this is not familiar. I don't want this familiarity. So we often look for a home that is familiar. Yeah.
Wow.
Right? And I can tell you many stories like that they make no sense on a conscious level, because like, why would I look for a situation like that?
Yeah, well, and that explains, this is one of the things. When did I do your program? July?
Yeah, July. Mm-hmm.
So I went to the jungle in January. Mm-hmm. Then I did the Camino in November. And in July, I did Adelaja's course. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I saw is that I had continually been dating guys who drank too much. Mm-hmm. My father was an alcoholic.
Huh.
Now, if you would have asked me, am I picking alcoholics? I would have said, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
You know, but it was a big part of their life. Like, no, I'm not going to go hiking for 13 hours because there's no beer. Or I'm sorry, I don't mean 13 hours, 13 miles, because there's no beer. Like, or everything has to have alcohol in it. And that actually changes the dynamic of a relationship. But I didn't see it until I started looking at what are my, beliefs. And part of it also might be that real love doesn't exist. I thought Rob and Laura Petrie. You remember them? No, you don't. You're too young. Oh, you do? A Dick Van Dyke Show.
Oh, no. Okay.
So
no.
They were like the perfect TV couple in my opinion. And then real life, that's not what I saw. And so that's fantasy. That's real, and real is painful. Fantasy is wonderful. So let's just live in fantasy land. Anyway, so how does it work? Let's do an exercise.
Okay, so let's do the exercise. First of all, let's close our eyes. Now think about something that stresses you out. It can be a person or a situation. Now, how do you feel when you think about it?
My stomach is uneasy, and it feels like something is crunching it down like that in my stomach, like a ball in my stomach that's crunching.
Okay. All right. So it's very physical, right?
Yeah.
Now think about something that you really like. Think about your favorite place in the world. Think about your favorite person in the world. How do you feel now?
Awesome. I feel light. I feel my heart open, warmth, love, connection, joy.
Beautiful. Okay, you can open your eyes. So what just happened to your subconscious mind, it literally, for it, subconscious mind, it was like you were there in both these situations. And the moment you were in a stressful situation and the moment you were in this beautiful situation, you had completely two different responses.
Yes.
The first one was stressful because your body, your subconscious mind, your system thought that you really are in this situation and turned on the hormone of stress, cortisol, and immediately you felt it in your stomach. So you felt cramp, correct?
Yes.
That's completely normal. Now, when you thought about something beautiful, right, immediately your body went into relaxation, your heart opened, and it just started to feel relaxed, and that's completely normal. Now, why is this happening?
I don't know. Good imagination.
Yes, imagination, because this was imagined, right? This was abstract. It was abstract. You know you were not there in those two places because you were here. But
exactly.
Right? So, but your subconscious mind doesn't understand that. So your subconscious mind, our subconscious mind, don't understand abstract. It doesn't understand that those two things did not happen. It was like it happened 100%, and all the systems were on.
Is that why visualization works?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I connected the dots.
No. That's true. That's true because you show your body or your subconscious and conscious mind where you want to go. Where you want to go. So now I have a target. I'm going to go to this target.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So also, but think about it. When we are thinking constantly, when we're thinking about constantly about things or situations that are stressing us out, then your body is in a constant stress.
Yeah. Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's in future or in the past, by the way, because our subconscious mind is living here and now. It's timeless. It doesn't understand the time, basically. Why it doesn't understand the time? Because it's responsible for our body functions. And you cannot digest in 2 weeks, or you cannot breathe tomorrow. You have to do it here and now. So that's why subconscious does not understand that something is not happening. So to your subconscious mind, when you think about stressful situations that happened in the past, like traumas, or when you think about something that you're afraid of that did not happen from the future, to your body,
yes.
Think about it. So to your body, it's like, oh, it's still happening. It's happening here and now. And that's why so many people don't even understand how much stress they're in, how much stress they are. It's incredible.
So, Adelia, I don't know if you know, but I was recently on a pilgrimage called the Camino Santiago.
Okay.
I walked 320 kilometers through the oldest and the hardest Camino there is. And I was super excited when I registered. I've wanted to do it since 2014. And all of a sudden I re-rent the movie The Way, and the kid dies at the very beginning. and I allow myself to spin out. And I couldn't keep watching the movie. I had to turn it off. And then I imagined myself on the Camino Primitivo, all alone, because it's the road less traveled, all alone with bloody feet, no money in my wallet, and no cell phone connection. And it was so pervasive that I called up American Airlines to cancel the trip. And they told me that they couldn't give me the credits. I would lose them if I didn't travel by October 30th. Yeah. So I went, and in the moment that I couldn't cancel, the fear, what I started asking myself is, what is this fear teaching me? And then I got better at packing. And then I got better at going to REI and talking to people. But before that fear was so real. And if we go back to subconscious programming, at 19 years old, I became a single mother, and I was petrified of being penniless out on the street, very similar to on the side of the road with no money and bloody feet. And I would have this child. And so I went into this frenzy workaholism as a recruiter, and I had to succeed. And I did. And I built a great lifestyle for 3 kids and a husband, and I supported us for the majority of the time. The majority of that time, I was a working mom and supported us. But I did so with a vengeance because I didn't want to fail. And as you're talking about how it works, it all played out totally. And it wasn't happening. I was not on the side of the road in Spain, in the mountain, but I had a visceral feeling of bloody feet.
Yeah. Yeah, because to your body, it's like already happening. Again, does not understand imagination, abstract. It's what's happening to your body. And that's why people go into this trauma or phobia or stress.
And if you don't know that it's your subconscious programming, your little voice, your the little devil on your, the devil and the angel is the devil part of your lowest ego self saying, cancel the trip, cancel the trip, cancel the trip. You suck. You're not going to be able to do it. If you don't know, it can take you over. Yeah. It can change your life. It can keep you small in a box, like stuck. Yeah. I am so glad I got into this education at 36 years old, because I didn't know that. And the more I learned, like your PSYCH-K, you can take what maybe has taken me since I've been 36. If somebody, now that I know, and I'm going to go in further training to learn this, how to help people change their beliefs fast. Yeah. And then we can work on other things. But so tell me, so we now know that our imagination, we've got about 20 minutes left. How do I change my imagination? How do I change that belief that I'm unlovable or I'm unworthy or girls have to be hit to be loved or whatever it is?
Yeah. So we have to use the right tool for the right job. So, the will, it's really still using your conscious mind with the subconscious mind. Affirmations, it's still a lot of work, right? Repeating, you still don't know. I've learned even self-hypnosis, so was a little bit better, but it still took time.
Yes.
So PSYCH-K is different than any other modality, and that's why Bruce Lipton loves it so much. And he knows more than 30 modalities that they work with the subconscious mind, and he still says that PSYCH-K is the best one, the fastest, the quick, the easiest. Is that the PSYCH-K is the right tool for the right job. And why? Because it helps to create the whole brain state. And whole brain state, that means that your left and right hemisphere are working simultaneously. So have you heard about that? Yeah, we have two hemispheres, and then we have a frontal lobe that is responsible for clear thinking and making decisions. So often when we are in fear, or we think about, or we trying to change limiting beliefs, that means that we are not in a whole brain state. So
we're only in our right or only in our left.
Exactly. So we are overthinking it. That's left hemisphere that is responsible for logic. It has to have a reason. It loves order. It loves putting things apart. It's all about me. It's all about I. So, but what it does, it's like overthinking. So it's, they say about analysis paralysis, right? Because they don't learn to trust, and trust is in your right hemisphere. And right hemisphere is responsible for feelings, intuition. It's synthesizing, brings everything together. And it's all about group and inclusion. So when your logic and your feelings are working at the same time, then you're creating a whole brain state. Exactly.
Integration. We call it integration.
Thank you very much. Yes, integration. And then you are like, okay, I made all the preparations to start this business. I'm ready. And now I just need to go for it. And I trust that I'm guided and I am going to succeed. And once you have those two hemispheres working together, then you are working and you're on the fullest potential you can get.
That's awesome. Yeah. Let's show me how. Change my beliefs.
Well, here's the thing. We are using the whole brain movements. We are using muscle testing, and I love muscle testing. It's called applied kinesiology, and this helps us with checking if we are stressing about still something, if we have some limiting beliefs, and it's very clear yes and no system when we're working with PSYCH-K. Now, kinesiology is used by other professionals like dietitians or holistic doctors. Here, we're using it strictly for beliefs.
Okay.
And changing the beliefs. Then we're using several movements of whole brain movements that actually I cannot show this to you, but I explain. Like one of the movements is cross crawls. I don't know if you've heard about cross crawls. So cross crawls are connecting both hemispheres together. So they are doing bridging. And why? Yep. But it's not only that itself. Then we have to follow special instructions. What do we have to do next to reprogram those beliefs? And it takes us, believe it or not, I didn't believe it at the beginning, actually, because I had a belief that change takes time and is painful. So I didn't believe it at the beginning. But it's truly, when I tried it for the first time, it literally took me a few seconds to a few minutes to change beliefs. And I was just shocked. And
so can you sample one on me for our visitors, our guests, or not?
I can't. I wish I could do it, but my contract doesn't allow me. I can speak about it, yet we cannot show it. It's very, I would say, experiential for everyone too.
So you could take people through it if they call Adelajda Child's Rapid Belief Change, or I could.
Yes.
As part of my coaching.
Correct.
She's going to be better right now than I am because she's over there. No, she's there. She's over there. She's going to be better. I hate.
Well, but the beauty.
I need a new belief about the computer.
Maggie, but the beauty of this, beauty about this modality is that it's simple, and anyone can learn it. And anyone can learn it. If people want to try a session, you're wonderful. You're fantastic with leading the session. If people want to do the workshop, they say like, "Oh, I want to do workshop." Yes, they have to come to me because they need to learn this. It takes 3 days.
Because I don't have a contract, can I do? I'm just asking. Like,
well, you do have a contract because you signed it. Yes.
Okay, well, so I cannot do a sample on this.
No.
For someone else. Okay.
No, because we don't want to put out there,
talk a little bit about it. So it's like she said, cross crawls. So you tap into each part of your brain right?
So you're creating a bridging between left and right hemisphere,
Yes.
while doing something else. I cannot say what it is because
While
while doing something else.
So
Okay.
retrain the brain, reprogram
The brain, or balance the brain, we say it in Psych-K.
Right.
Or there's another movement, or I would say a posture. I'm not going to say what kind of posture, but there's another posture in which you're going to be sitting for a few seconds and a few minutes while doing something else. But the beauty of it, it's like it's going to be fast, it's painless, and you'll notice the shift after a few seconds to a few minutes.
And why does tapping into both parts of the brain and having some kind of crisscross, of the hemispheres in integration, why does that change the belief? Why does that interrupt the sheathing of that old memory and old belief?
Because you're reprogramming your brain and you're creating new connections in your brain, basically. So once you create a whole brain state,
yes,
that whole brain state allows to reprogram any belief or any trauma or any stressful situation into
you need to be in a whole brain state.
Correct.
In order to actually elevate